Could we come back to restrictions on individual freedom that are going to be placed on us? Are there going to be exceptions, waivers, exemptions? Apparently, I won't be able to stroll around at 9:15 without some sort of proof that I'm allowed to do so. Is that true? Are you going to have to apply for this on your cell phone? What's going to happen?
Yes, exactly.
As from Saturday.
Yes, from Saturday, the work that will be done in the next 2 days. Tomorrow, the Prime Minister with the ministers will have a press conference to give you the details, but very broadly speaking, we will continue to work. Our economy needs this, our society needs this, our children need to keep going to school. I am very happy that we were one of the first European countries to reopen our schools, and I'd like to thank all the teachers who've done an amazing work in this direction. We have to keep going to work in all sectors in order to work our industries, our services, and our country needs this to keep morale up, and we need to do this in order to finance the rest of this mechanism. And so for all the people who finish work after 9 p.m. or who work at night, there will, of course, be exceptions. For those who have emergencies, health emergencies, for example, there will be authorization. So there will be cases that we will define, things that we will define thanks to common sense. There won't be a ban for moving around at night, but there will be a strict limit for compelling reasons. This means that you won't be able to go to restaurants, you won't be able to leave the restaurant after 9 p.m., you won't be able to go visit friends after 9 p.m., you won't be able to go out and party, because that's where we know that the virus spreads the most.
Who will ensure compliance with curfew? The police? Will there be the military around?
No. There will be controls, and I'd like to thank our police officers for doing this from the beginning, and there will be fines, as there already are.
How much will the fine be?
So it will be a fine of 135 euros, which is already the fine that's in place for people who do not wear the mask in public. Let me remind you of this. And if you do it a second time, the fine goes up to 1,500 euros.
Using all of our police force?
We will mobilize them proportionately, and this will be done locally. But what I also hope and what I expect from each and every one of us is that, like we did during the lockdown, everyone should be conscious of the risks and the issues at stake. During the lockdown, we were one of the countries that best respected the lockdown measures. It was very difficult, but the French people were exemplary because they understood that this was something that they were doing to protect the most vulnerable people and our healthcare workers, and we respected these rules better than other countries. We can see this very clearly in all the figures. And so I'm expecting that each and every one of us, in the areas that are concerned, that we respect these measures. The figures are transparent, we're sharing them, you can see them, and we need these measures. And if in 2 weeks or 3 weeks we don't want to reimpose even stricter measures, we have to respect these measures today. So I really believe in the responsibility of every citizen, but of course there will be controls.
And yet the report you're mentioning talks about mistreating people and making them like children, treating them like children. But is a curfew the same thing?
But that's why we're trying to collectively get better to... I think we must all, and that's what we've been trying to do these last weeks, we're all the actors of this war against this virus and of our success. In some places, if we want to be faster, be more radical, we need to have common rules. And to set up rules is not treating people like children. It means telling responsible citizens we are imposing rules because we need to collectively respect these rules, because otherwise we will not have a strong enough impact. And all our neighbors are doing this. In Germany, there are 5,000 to 6,000 cases a day, and yet we have 20,000 cases, but they're also taking measures.
She's more cautious, and fewer deaths as well.
And I'm not talking about infantilizing people, treating them like children. We're taking measures that are not disproportionate. We are taking measures that are proportionate when you take into account the risk that we're dealing with. And when we're talking about mortality in France, if we're looking at in longer term, 2-3 years, the difference between France and Germany isn't that big.
Practical question: where do you have these curfews? What about mass transit? If you're taking a train from Paris, from Lille to Paris, and you arrive at 9:15, what about taking a cab when you get off the train? What's going to happen?
The public transportation will be mobilized, as as it was during the lockdown. There won't be less public transport, which is important because people who keep working at night or very early in the morning, they have to be able to travel, and they're traveling for compelling reasons. We also haven't decided not to reduce transport between the different regions, because once again, it's a choice not to treat people like children, but to give them the responsibility. So we're not going to stop people from traveling from one region to another or to stop them from going on holiday, but we will ask them to respect rules of citizenship, of civil behavior.